You are now listening to T-on-1 Radio, the talk show podcast station. This is Sistah Talk, and I am your host, Sistah-such-and-such. I'm an open-minded and raw character who says exactly what is on my mind, meanwhile telling the truth about it all. Sistah Talk is news, information, lifestyle, and of course my opinions. And I leave no subject untouched. Now, the information and resources on this podcast are based on the opinions of the host, unless otherwise noted. All information is intended to motivate, encourage, and inspire positive change and a healthier lifestyle. This podcast may contain some quotations, images, and/or excerpts from copyrighted material. These uses fall well within the copyright doctrine of fair use. Welcome to Sistah Talk. Well, hey, y'all, this is Sistah Such-and-such, and welcome to Sistah Talk. Now, today's subject is wolves in sheep's clothing. Now, this content is for mature people. Not just a number in your age, but actually mentally mature people. And then this might help somebody, okay? But this is for mature audiences only, so if you ain't mature, get your ass over here. Stop listening, turn it off, go on about your damn business. Now, if you get offended, don't be offended. Just take it as a lesson and take it with a grain of salt or sugar, whichever one helped that check go down, okay? Okay, so we're talking about wolves in sheep's clothing, and I'm pretty sure by now everybody know what the hell that means. That's somebody pretending to be something else, especially leadership roles within the church. And, sister been around a while, so I couldn't tell you. My papa, he was one of them preachers that we had to go around to all the conventions and musicals, and all during the week I couldn't even go outside to play because I was at church. So we was visiting all them churches. I done seen some shit, y'all. But let's get right into it. So, now, these wolves in sheep's clothing, they getting caught up, y'all. There's some folks getting caught up. Now, this ain't all preachers. I want y'all to also know that, too. This ain't all preachers. This is just some that's pretending to be good and ain't about shit. So, we're going to kick off in Florida now. So, we got this pastor, Antonio Carlisle. Y'all might have heard some other folks talking about it, but I won't talk about it. Now, he raped a man that was in jail. He was in the pen. Now, you're a pastor. And at the prison, you is the education supervisor. I don't know what the hell kind of educating that is, but I don't think rape is... But I'm sorry for y'all that word offends y'all, but it is what it is. And for YouTube purposes, I'm gonna say took it. Okay. But he did. He did this. Now, this was Lake City, Florida. So he was working for the Florida Department of Corrections. That's a damn shame. Now, he's supposed to know better. But a rape kit was done on this man, on this victim. And the DNA matched. And not to mention, this was a married man. So, there was a first lady. Because, most pastors, they got a first lady. So, he was married. I don't think she knew that her man was on the down low. And in this pastor's case, the real damn low. Now, he already had a previous incident that took place back in 2002. Now, that was before he became the senior pastor, because, they give him, levels to it. Now, it was said that he and another pastor in his home held a young man down while the youngster got it took. And he got charges. Yes, there were charges. Now, I know y'all probably want to know, well, what church was he preaching at, sister? The Greater True Vine Missionary Church. So y'all gotta watch these people. Wolves in sheep's clothing. Now we're gonna move along over to Ohio. Cause it's not just in one place. So nobody can say, no, that's not my city. That's somebody else's city. No, it don't work like that. That shit is happening all over the place, and y'all need to be aware. So over the decades, yes, I did say over the decades, Bishop Joseph White. Now, Northeast Ohio, CLGI churches. Now that stands for the Church of the Living God International. Now that right there in itself, that sounds pretty damn dangerous. Because if you can go international with taking it, that's a problem. Now, which these churches are affiliated with Cleveland, East Cleveland, and Warren. And we are talking about Bishop Joseph White here. So, what was he doing? Well, he been grooming young men. And then abusing them. And this is as well as adult men, too. Now, there is a pattern that shows that this bishop was a predator. Because he has a previous incident as well, just like the last filler. Now, in 1994, he was kicked out of the church over misconduct. Now, mind you, it's the same church, basically, the CLG. But instead of him not being able to pastor no more or pay for his sins, they allowed him to throw that I on there, on the end of that CLG, and just make it into a whole nother branch of the church. Now, see, that's a problem. So it's taking it from Church of the Living God into Church of the Living God International. Which, so basically, they just said, okay, here, you go on and start your own church, and you can do what the hell you want to do in your church, basically. Because this is what they did. And us as church folk, we got to stop that shit. We got to stop this. This ain't okay. Because if CLG had reported him and he'd have did time, had to pay for them sins, these people that came up groomed and molested after he threw the eye on them, making it international, that shit probably wouldn't even happen. Because he'd already been locked up or learned his lesson, or whichever one came first, or both. Because, both of them would have got a hope to his ass. But again, wolves in sheep's clothing. And these people just be kissing these people's ass like they God. They ain't God. They're a man. They a man. They human. Just like any damn body else. And you can't be going off of what you think these people is necessarily doing, right? That shit don't work like that. Just talking good things doesn't always mean they're walking that walk. It's a trust betrayal. And it just really goes from that, because it just gets, it's a hot damn mess. Who is paying attention? So let's go over to Oklahoma. Now, a few months ago, a 9-year-old's dad ends up catching a pastor by the name of Michael Coghill touching on his son. Now, let me back up a little bit. Now, okay, so these people is attending this church and everything is all hunky-dory, and their kid come to the parents and tell the parents that Pastor Coghill been touching and feeling on him and carrying on. So, like any good parents, them parents, and this is at the school bus stop. Let me make that clear. So we don't know what the hell has been going on in that church, but this is at the school bus stop. This man been just so happen supposedly jogging in this neighborhood by this particular school bus stop where this particular little 9-year-old catches the bus at. Tell me that ain't a funky hot mess. But anyhow, he told his parents. So that next day they sat out there in the car. Rightly so. And sure enough, here come his perverted ass just a jogging down through there. He go past the bus stop and then come back and commence to do what he has been doing. Well, at this point, old Papa Bear jumped his ass out the car. And he caught him in the act and tore that ass up, whooped that ass at the school bus stop. And they got him on camera. They made sure that they got his ass. But you want to know what the bad part about this is? Now, the police came and everything and got him after he done got his ass whooped. Which I'm kind of glad the father didn't go to jail because, honestly, I think the man deserved that ass whooping. He needed that ass whooping. He needed that lesson. But the killing part of this shit, is the church that this particular pastor used to attend and was working at decided, and they said this publicly now, that they were going to hold a prayer vigil for the youth pastor. So you going to pray for him. I ain't said nothing about the little boy that he done fandangled. What kind of shit is that? Where are we at as a society when it comes to, we care more about the pastors than we do the victims? This is the babies. And that's a damn shame because that church didn't say nothing about the 9-year-old. But that goes to show the mindset of people in this situation. Wolves in sheep's clothing. All right, so we're going to move on over to Mobile, Alabama. Yeah, Alabama ain't let y'all out. Now, over the years, a Pastor Gregory Adams has been charged in multiple rape cases. Now, it was said that this man even used holy oil as lube. Now, how low down dirty can you get to just low down dirty motherfuckers? That ain't of God. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure y'all gonna say, well, sister, your language ain't really of God. Well, I'm heated, damn it. And it's the truth. You can't run from, you can't run from the truth. You just can't. And I'm gonna tell it like the hell I wanna tell it. Now, he used holy oil as a lube. That is just, I'm sorry, y'all. I just got stuck there, dirty bastard. Now, as of July of 2021, his ass is in trouble. Pastor Gregory Adams. Now, he has 3 counts of first-degree rape, 2 counts of second-degree rape, 3 counts of first-degree sodomy, and 2 counts of sexual abuse. When will this type of shit end? Is nobody paying attention to the children? Is nobody listening to the children? Hell no, because if they was, this wouldn't be happening. They see you paying attention to these people and they just get locked in them damn selves. And just think about all the folks, the children that's done had this happen to them previously and come to the parents or somebody else in the church and say, hey, this is happening to me. Pastor so-and-so did this to me. Or deacon so-and-so did this to me. Or prophetess such-and-such did this to me. I mean, it's just, now what do? Oh, they didn't do that. We just gonna pray about it. You ain't listening to them. You ain't putting no action into play here. Which means these children is gonna grow up holding on to all of this, dealing with all of this, going back and forth with all of this. And what damn help did they get from you or others in the church? None. There was not help. So these same people is growing up into society, and everybody else has to deal with them. Yes, so it affects everybody. Because these same children that's getting touched and fondled and fandangled and whatnot at an early age is growing up with these problems and becoming nurses and pastors and lawyers and everything else we need in society, even teachers, with these same issues that weren't properly dealt with, that they don't have closure to. And just think, everybody else has to date them. They're the ones in the dating pool. So they got all this baggage. And they, just like anybody else, is looking to get married. So everybody else is having to deal with this. Now, over in South Carolina, we got 3 more that have been charged. Wolves in sheep's clothing. Lorenzo Washington, Philip J. Buxton, and Peter Cooper. These are just the ones that's getting put out there. This done got caught up. Think of all the ones who have not. Now, let me tell y'all something right now. I ain't gonna keep you long. No. But I want to make sure y'all get this truth in the day. When it comes to pastors and other leadership roles within the church setting, people tend to let their guards down and blindly follow and obey these people without hesitation. Even with church members, it's the same thing. You let the children go to sleepovers, lock-ins, missions, camps, conventions, and musicals, and whatever else that's being held. Letting the pastor come over for dinners and counseling. Stop it, I say. Stop it. Use the common sense and wisdom that God gives every person and realize and understand that these are everyday people like you and I. Some of these people will use the weakness in you to hurt and abuse you and your children. Instead of helping, teaching, and guiding you, it's an abuse of power only to help and serve their own sick and depraved demons. Now, if you have been victimized in or out of the church by one of the church leaders, parishioners, or whoever else, contact Shonda Norman of Inspired Inc. She can help you. She was a victim herself, but now she's a warrior trying to help others. She's out of South Carolina, so y'all get in touch with her. She can help y'all. And big shout out to Shonda Norman for bouncing back after this happened to her. So y'all, be careful. Don't get caught up fucking around with these wolves in sheep's clothing.
Welcome to Eastside Baptist Church. My name is James Jenkins, the 14th, and I'm coming to you live today to tell you that the Lord has been watching you motherfuckers not putting nothing in the contribution box. Sister Jenkins, please point the person out who didn't put nothing in the contribution box today. It's the reason why our toilet in the church is not working. Because no one has been putting nothing in the box. You got to pay to hear about the Lord nowadays. And he gave me the word to give it to you. Motherfuckers better start putting something in the contribution box so me and Sister Jenkins can continue to ride these on that bitch.
Female station, I'll be talking about.
Damn!
You have been listening to Sistah Talk, brought to you by T-On-1 Radio, the talk show podcast station. I am your host, sis-such-and-such. If it looks and acts like a duck, then it's a fucking duck. Listener's voice. Listeners are encouraged and welcome to call in, live at 318-315-3971. Phone calls may be monitored and recorded for quality, safety, and recording purposes. Your continued participation in that telephone call serves as express consent to be monitored or recorded. You can also send in your voice clips. You can inbox the radio station Facebook page as well as email TON, the number 1, RADIOSTATION @gmail.com. That's TON1 radio station @gmail.com. TON Radio, the talk show podcast station, where we're on one, and so are our listeners.